man.
It is, no?
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. Been a long day.
You can't even tell.
¿Sabe
No,
what?
pues es lo... Dijera un amigo. It's kind of hoppy. Bro, it's Corona.
It's Corona, man. Antonio, where did you grow up, man?
All over the place, man. I'm originally from Jalisco, from Guadalajara. My family's from Tepatitlan, and we moved up here pretty early. You know, I was about 5 years old, and moved near Wisconsin area. Then we moved down to Chicago for a little bit, and then did some time down in Louisiana. That's when I started roofing, and then now I'm up here. So just kind of a mixture of every.
So your childhood in school was mostly in Chicago?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
Wisconsin, Chicago area.
Chicago.
Yeah,
Was it like in the city or suburbs or what?
we were in the back of the yards, like South Side Chicago. Yeah, it was just we were brand new to this country, kind of thing, and looking at what we needed to do to get ahead and everything. And my dad was just like, "Well, there's more work in the city." We lived in Wisconsin for a good time too, and it was beautiful out there. I mean, we were the only Hispanics in all these schools.
Yeah.
But that in itself was very hard because we didn't know the language at all. We had to just learn everything early on, and then transition into Chicago. There's, so many Hispanic communities there, and we fit in, but there was no resources for us to.
That's right. You did message, when I was in Chicago?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I was like, I go to Chicago. Que tu tía or
They have
tío?
they have a couple of restaurants
Yeah,
out there.
I wanted to, but we were so like busy and booked that we already kind of had it planned out. But
Right,
yeah.
right.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Is that the south side of Chicago? Is that what they call the Chirac? Is that what it was? Is that what they call it, or is it different?
I mean, there's different areas. Different areas you have to just kind of watch yourself a little bit. The south side has its rough areas. West side has its rough areas. It's just, being there as a tourist, you don't know any better. You're just kind of going around. But when you grow up there, you just kind of have to be cautious of those things, what colors you're wearing and everything. And it's just,
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
The Chirac?
Yeah, I heard of Chirac
Where
too.
have you heard of it?
The murder capital, según, no?
What?
Murder capital of America, no sé qué. Sí, no?
It was for a couple of years, yeah.
no.
Something like that.
But that's where a lot of what they call like drill rappers came out of, and just rappers too, and they all rapped about it. And then a lot of people in podcasts talk about it too. But yeah, there was like a lot of murders. I think per capita Chicago was
High. I think it was
up there.
2020 or 2022, something like that.
I think it was from earlier too. I think it was from like 17.
No,
to
like
20.
when they broke records, era
Was
lo
it
más alto.
2020? Yeah.
Sí. Ahorita está
COVID?
como New Orleans, allá abajo,
Yeah,
Mississippi, todos esos lugares. But you don't see them, you don't hear them as mainstream because they're smaller cities, pero.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Chicago when I went there, man. It's huge. It's a lot to do.
Did you go to the Bean?
The bean, yeah, it's
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 just a
whatever.
huge bean, man. But
yeah, it's. I mean, it's a lot of people who were there.
Yeah.
What's the point of the Bean? I just heard of it, but apparently it's like this big tourist thing.
I mean, it's just not awkward, but it's just different.
the architecture is amazing. I'll give Chicago that.
Chicago, yeah.
But there's so many variables to how the city's being built and how to preserve a lot of the architecture that's still there, right? So a lot of it's modern. I don't personally know like the ins and outs of the sculptures around the city because for me, my upbringing was on the south side. We were hardly downtown. We were hardly, in these big spaces where a lot of successful people were. So it was kind of out of reach for us to even learn about all that. Yeah, I mean, the architecture for me was what I loved the most.
Yeah.
And just once we started heading downtown and going around and stuff, it was just an amazing city to visit, man.
I've never been, but I think it would be awesome to go to
Oh,
Chicago.
dude, I was. We're going back for sure.
Yeah?
It's nice. I like it.
Oh, it was only you that went
Oh,
out?
yeah, it was-
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, no lo dejaron.
Nah, we're not allowed to hang out outside of the podcast. He's a bad influence, man. Yeah, he gets me in trouble.
Nah.
You have friends like that? Get you in trouble that your wife is like, oh, you can't hang out with this guy?
I used to,
You
yeah.
So you went through school in Chicago, and then you moved to Louisiana when you were a little bit older, and you started working. That's where you learned roofing?
Yep. So after just kind of jumping from school to school in Chicago, I was just I needed to go to work pretty much. I was just like, well, I'm not gonna finish out school. You know, I was missing credits because I was at a boarding school. I was at Chicago School of the Arts, and all my credits were all messed up. And I was just like, man, I just need to go to work at this point. So yeah, we had a little bit of trouble. The last year I was in Chicago, some things popped off, and we were dumb kids doing dumb shit, and
He was part of Chirac,
I
man.
I just needed to leave, and they were like, "Well, come down here. We'll put this kid to work." My primos took me in down there, and my tios, and it was just, it was a trabajar, a darle, you know. It's not easy work either, man.
No, roofing's not easy work. So what I've learned from the little bit that I have traveled is that everywhere I go, houses are built different. So from everything, from the siding and roofing and everything.
Yeah.
So how different would you consider the roofing? Well, actually, let me start over. Because I haven't even introduced them. Welcome back to the podcast, guys. My name is Alan.
My name is Jorge.
And today's guest, we have a special guest in the house. We have Antonio. He has 3 different businesses. So we have a roofing company, which is Empire Roofing.
Yep.
And we have schools.
Iniguez Stoneworks.
I'm not even gonna try to say that. I'm gonna mess that up. You should try to say it.
Say what?
Iniguez Stoneworks.
Iniguez?
Yeah.
Oh, you said it good.
Iniguez?
Yeah, I'm surprised you said it good.
I should have picked a better name for that, man.
No. So school work. So he does all of this, and we will get in detail in this. And then the third business is he now has his own herd of Longhorn. What would you call them? Bulls? Is that Longhorn?
Just a herd, Longhorn bulls. And,
Bulls, okay.
We're raising a herd of Longhorns.
Which is also, you guys need to check out that Instagram as well. Which, they're amazing too. But yeah, let's get this started, man. So I was asking you about the roofing. How much different it is from Chicago? Because you didn't do that in Chicago, right?
No.
You started that in Louisiana.
Louisiana, yeah.
So how much different is that from Louisiana to like where we're at right now?
Well, from even like I look back at a few buddies that do roofing in Chicago now, the dynamic of the roofing materials that are used in different regions of the country are just completely different. And it takes a big toll on like how it's engineered, how everything is engineered in every place you go. Down south, it was always you had to have certain materials because you have hurricane winds, you have all kind of storms coming in all the time. Every year you run that risk of that building blowing off, and you would see it. I mean, you see videos all the time of roofs just completely, ripping apart these houses and stuff. Out here, we don't have that issue. So we could do a lot less fully adhered systems. I mean, Louisiana was all torched down and mop tar, and that's asphalt. You know, you're just adhering everything to the decking. Out here, we tear off a lot of those roofs, but it seems to be going away out here because we don't have the high winds. So there's a lot of things in different regions. I talked to a lot of people. You know, Montana's different because they get a lot of snow as well, so they have to use different products and everything. But it's interesting, man. That's what I like about the roofing industry is no state is similar. You know, you hear about these guys asking about, hey, man, how do you price this from another state? And it's like,
it's different.
Yeah. Every roof is going to be different, and that's why I love the roofs that we put on here because it's just super easy, man. We don't have to deal with the hot tar that I dealt with for like 3 years. I was just like, oh, this is where I need to be, man.
It's interesting, and I noticed that because, like, when I go to LA and like the San Diego area, all those houses look really similar to what they look like in Mexico. and then we're up here, and then they just look completely different.
Yeah.
So I was always I always had that question in my mind how much different it is from different areas of the country. So you were in Louisiana for 3-4 years, you said,
Yep,
and
3
then
years.
and then you decided to move to Oregon.
Yeah, I met my wife down there.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not my wife. We were just dating at the time when I met her down there. But yeah, we were just, I don't know. It was just kind of a thing where we just picked up and left. She's an only child, and so her mom had moved out here prior to us moving, and she was just kind of not alone. She had friends and everything. She grew up down there. But then we just decided, hey, you know what? Let's just move up there and see what happens. We packed up the truck, 2 dogs, all our shit in the back, and we headed out there, man. And yeah, it was very fun to drive through all the states too, man. That was probably the best thing I had done because, I mean, growing up in Chicago, we would just, there's nothing really to see around there. Louisiana, it's the same thing. I mean, there's swamps and everything, but once we hit Colorado and all those states that we were just booking it to Oregon, I was just blown away. I was like, man, estamos aquí y no vemos casi nada de esto,
Yeah.
So, from out there, you probably went through what, like 8-9 states?
Yeah, so we went up through Texas, a little part of New Mexico, into Colorado, Utah. I think it was a little bit of Idaho and then Oregon. I mean,
So
Oregon
6 states.
stretches from pretty far out too, so that was a long drive.
And what was your favorite?
Once I saw Oregon, because I had never been, man. Once I saw Oregon, I was just like, shit, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it as soon as I saw the Pacific Ocean. I mean, everything that it had to offer. I was just like, this is it right here.
Damn. And you started working roofing when you came out here? Or what?
I came ready, man. Yeah.
Yeah?
I was like, it's funny. The second day I was here, because we moved in with our in-laws, we didn't have a place to stay or anything, so they helped us out a lot in that big move from Louisiana out here. And I was just like, all right, I need to get a job. We need to get things going. Tenemos planes. Quiero hacer esto y esto. Y pues a chingarle. So, second day we were here, I reached out to a couple companies, bigger companies, and the ones that got back to me were like, we're already, ya tenemos nuestros gallos, así. I was like, oh, it's fine. And then a company out of Portland, Interstate Roofing, they reached out to me. Well, the guy, superintendent, heard that I was looking for a job. They wanted to get to meet me, and I mean, I was working, within 3 days, también. But I came ready with, like, my torch, because that's all we did down there. I was like, I'm ready to torch. I'm ready to show everybody kind of what I know how to do and everything. They're like, man, we don't touch that stuff out here. I was like, thank God, man. I mean, either way, I mean, we did a lot of the roofs that we do out here are TPO and PVC, and it's just the thermoplastic. It's rubber, pretty much, reinforced rubber. And I did a little bit of that in Louisiana, so I was like, oh, I can definitely do this. I just need to practice it a little bit out here. So, yeah, I started roofing as soon as I got here, and I just kind of worked my way up a little bit. I was not making much, but it was enough for us to at least, get our roots in, get dialed in out here, and get plans going. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Right before COVID, no?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think my second year there, I think, is when COVID hit. It was we wouldn't stop working because we had no like customer to customer communication. It was just they go up on the roof and hagan el techo,
Show up here.
You still had to wear a mask, though, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was some things there.
Because OSHA and all that.
Yeah.
'Cause we have a buddy that does roofing, but he does a commercial, no? Como like in the buildings.
Yeah.
And they had to wear them too. And dice que a veces la quitaban y pasaban. No, que te la tienes que poner. Yeah. We're strict about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a lot of the union jobs like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, yeah, that's what
They're
it
on
was.
top of
yeah,
them.
Yeah.
And did you know you wanted to start a roofing business from the get go or what?
No, man.
How did that come out?
Man, honestly, I was just kind of reading a lot and just kind of thinking about where I wanted to be in the next 5 years. That's one of the things that I never asked myself growing up, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm getting kind of serious about living here now for the rest of my life, and what do I need to do out here? Y pues la mentalidad de uno siempre ha sido, pues, mira, me trajeron a este país, I got to do something, you know. Ya le di mucho coraje, mucho, pues, bastante, pues, estrés a mis padres. Ya hay que parar, pues, you know. Y pues sí, I mean, it was just a light switch that kind of came on, and I was just like, okay, I tried this, I tried that. No está saliendo las cosas bien. I mean, we were progressing slowly, pero I was just, me dijeron, hey, ¿quieres empezar a trabajar aquí? Te pasamos los jales. The company that I was working for when well, I'm gonna back up. The job at Interstate was only for 2 years. The when we bought our house in Albany, I had to move down there. I was not going to make that trip all the way to Portland every day. So I started working for another company down here in Salem, and pues sí, las cosas iban bien. Me metieron como foreman, y pues le di, and I showed everybody kind of lo que yo hacía y todo. Y ya pues no sé si el superintendente de esa compañía me vio con potencial o cómo estuvo la cosa, pero me dijo también ya después de un tiempo, hey, deberías empezar tu compañía y nomás te paso estos jales. I was like, let's do it, man. Like, at this point, I didn't do, I don't feel ashamed of saying it, but I don't do any shingles. I don't touch shingle roofs. I don't know how to install a shingle roof.
Yeah.
But when it comes to commercial flat roofs, eso es lo que yo sé hacer. And el vato vio eso también, pues este gallo tal vez lo podemos ayudar y que nos ayude también a nosotros, because it's hard to get into commercial roofing.
Is it?
Yeah, man, it's crucial. Y yo, pues también de instalando tengo esa confidence también de poder sacar esos jales sin problemas, pero es por la experiencia que también yo tuve con trabajos difíciles. But yeah, I mean, it was a hard conversation that I had to have with myself before starting my company too. Is si va a pasar esto? How are we going to make it happen? You know. So I was working some things out at this time. I'm just kind of jumping back and forth, man. But
That's all right.
The job that I had at that time when I was starting my company was a project manager for a good friend of mine. Y pues no le pensé dos veces cuando me ofreció un jale. He runs his landscaping company. And so I joined their team as a project manager. And I mean, I loved it, but the switch of industries for me was very hard. Porque, I mean, landscaping es otro animal también. And they were doing hardscapes. They were doing everything, lighting, irrigation systems. And for me, I was just overwhelmed. I was just like,
there's a lot to that.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, they had their crew set up. I mean, es una empresa muy grande. So, yo dirigiendo a ellos, sin saber mucho de lo que es, lo que están haciendo, pues, I mean, I laced up my boots and I learned, right? So, empecé a escuchar podcasts de todo eso. Excuse me. Empecé pues sí, a preguntar, hey, ¿cómo lo hacen así? It just got to be too much también.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at roofing. I'm good at commercial roofing. There's not a lot of people doing that out here. Well, ¿qué estoy haciendo? You know?
Yeah.
I was like, I talked to my wife about it. I said, si nos queremos quedar aquí ya para siempre, yo creo que quiero empezar mi compañía de roofing. Y pues sí, no era una conversación así muy fácil porque it takes a lot too, man. Pero pues nos estaba yendo bien, y pues me aventé. Dije, hey, I'm going to call up a couple guys and see if they want to come work with me, because I sure as hell am not installing, big commercial roofs by myself.
Yeah.
So les dije, hey, quieren entrarle. Aquí, pues, yo trabajaba antes con ellos y ya se habían movido de compañía. Cuando yo me salí, se movieron todos a otros diferentes lugares. As soon as they heard it, I mean, me llamaron, hey, pues, ¿cuándo empezamos? Ok, y pues le dimos así.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple of good guys, and I mean, a couple other guys have came and went in the company and
Yeah, yeah.
everything, but that's just how it goes.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my two solid guys, I mean, shout out to Joe Howdy and Ray. I mean, they've been amazing, man, since day one.
You have a couple of the guys that started with you from the beginning.
Yep. Some of the foundation guys, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's what's important, man. A lot of times it's like the people that you have with you, you know? Because there's always going to be people in cualquier negocio, lo que sea, se van. But the important ones, you know?
Yeah. Y lo importante también es they have to always align with our core values of the company. Because puede andar un gallo muy chingón aquí que sabe rufiar esto y puede meter escuadras a lo güey y todo. But si no está bien en su casa, si no está, tiene problemas de alcohol o lo que sea, and that's big for me, man. I mean, 3 years sober, it's not easy work, but you can see the progression over the years, and I want that for any guy that steps foot in my company. Yeah. And some of these guys just don't get it, or it's not their time to really realize that. So the big thing is they meet the core values and the culture that we have in our company, because I mean, si quiero agarrar gallos que nomás van a andar valiendo madre y pues haciendo buen jale, pero igual llegan crudos.
If the culture's not there, no va a ser. You're not going to see eye to eye o algo va a pasar.
Yeah, it affects everybody in the company too, man. So, yeah, I mean, I wish I could hire a lot more people, and I'm looking to hire more people. I just want them to be the right people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's good, yeah.
Oh yeah. So that was the first business you started then, right?
Yep. The skull business was never really an official, and it still isn't, man. It's not. It's just kind of a side gig that I had when I was working at that company in Portland. I mean, everybody knows that work slows down for roofers in the winter out here. It pours like nonstop for months.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of downtime, and pues me puse a hacer esto. I was just like, you know, I've always been good at drawing and everything, but it got a little, pues no sé, yo me puse a pensar like, man, I'm tired of painting on just a flat canvas. I'm tired of doing this. Y me puse a ver videos en YouTube, just, you know, a ver skull carving. There was a guy there who had an amazing YouTube channel that me enseñó casi todo lo que para empezar, pues.
¿De esto or?
Skull carving.
Skull carving,
yeah.
okay.
And then I joined a couple other groups of how to clean the skulls and everything. Y pues sí, fui aprendiendo eso my first winter out here. And I just drew one up and I carved it out. And I was just kind of on this hunt for skulls. It was bizarre to maybe my family or my wife, but no sé. Fui a diferentes ranchos a preguntar, hey, ¿qué hacen con los animales cuando los matan? O así. La gente se saca de onda, pero pues yo también tenía la visión esa de okay, I need to get a nice skull to paint on and do my thing on. And well, sure enough, I mean, I started meeting a lot of other people that had, you know, LongHorns, that had Highlanders, bison, yaks. I mean, de todo tipo de animal.
What did they do with this before someone like you would come along and say, hey, I want this?
The thing about it is a lot of these ranchers already have a market set up for the skulls and the hides, right?
Okay.
So they already have, like, if they set up at a Saturday market, they'll bring a skull there and they might sell it. But no one was really doing the carving that I heard of out here. And I saw that opportunity to just implement that in whatever it is I was doing with these skulls. So a lot of people were just, you know, kind of hesitant. Because you have to margin out your things, you know, your money when you purchase an animal. You have to figure out how much you're going to get out of the meat, the skull, the hide, and everything. And so if it's not, it doesn't match up to their margins to sell this to me at a really cheap rate, then they won't sell it to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. But most of the people that I got some really nice horns, longhorns here, have given me great deals on them because it's hard to even get somebody to clean them. And that's what I was doing from the start. I was just like fresh, butchered, con gusanos y todo, to this pretty much. I mean, it's a long 2 month process, maybe.
2 months?
Yeah, I was gonna say okay, so you go, you get this, you take it in your truck or whatever.
Yeah.
Te lo dan en una bolsita.
Pero una bolsa or
No.
they just
No,
throw
man.
A
It's
Ziploc
funny.
bag.
A couple buddies in the Amity area, they had sent me pictures before because yo
Yeah.
traía mi troca de roofing y todo.
Yeah.
So I had like generators in the back. Y pues también tenían cuernos saliendo
Yeah.
del the back of the truck bed, and I was just like, hey man, you know.
Yeah.
That's how they dare. Como sabían que iba yo, pues. I had the skulls always in the back. But yeah, man, I throw them in the back and I take them to another buddy's ranch, and they have these big troughs, right? So I don't use any of the beetles or anything like that to clean my skulls. I just soak them in water. Y pues en el verano está perfecto porque no es algo con la bacteria que se crece con agua that's been sitting out that just cleans these things right off. I mean, it's a lot faster process in the summer because you have that bacteria thriving in the water, and it just cleans everything off. 2 weeks, you change out the water y nomás se cae todo. So you have that skull
But
left
so you
over.
put it in water.
Yep.
And then it takes about a month or no?
Well,
2
the
weeks?
thing when I started, it was in the winter, and so you have to regulate the heat of the water for that bacteria to thrive. So
Okay.
if it's too cold, there's no bacteria
Somewhere.
doing anything. You're just sitting in water. So I bought these ink birds that you regulate the heat of these water heaters, and they will turn off whenever it reaches a certain temperature. So I did that, and it worked out great. It was just it smells terrible. So
Yeah.
I had to pivot and just go to a buddy's ranch and ask him, hey, can I put this on your property and just, let it sit there? You don't have to bug with it. You don't have to mess with it. I'll come back every 2 weeks or so, and I'll change out the water. He said, that's fine. And we just kept doing that. And
The wife wasn't happy about the smell?
it kept me busy because, so yeah, man, nobody was, my neighbors, nobody liked that smell. I don't know what it is about me, but I can tolerate it maybe. No sé qué pedo. It was, it's also very nutritious. And I found this out about 2-3 years ago when we started moving the tanks from my buddy's place and dropping the water in a certain area. Porque yo iba y ya cuando la carne y los ojos, la lengua y todo, se le cae, pues obviamente la tiro ahí en un pao que teníamos de compost.
In the Willamette River.
Yeah, we would just bury everything, and man, everything started to flourish. Y pues mis compas también ahí tienen sus plantitas de mota y todo, y pues se les empezaron a dar más fruto.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we started doing that. All the water that was coming out of those tanks, we were just, a donde quería ponerle agua. I mean, you could notice where we were dropping the water in that property because it was just flourishing, man, everywhere.
Damn.
That's crazy.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. That's wild.
So it smells bad. It smells terrible, but tiene algo,
Yeah. And how many did you do at a time? Like, I'm assuming it's like a tank, una tina grande. Like, did you just do one at a time, or do you have like?
At the beginning, it was, hacía dos o tres because that's what I could get my hands on. Right now, yo no tengo suficientes tinas para hacer todos los que tengo disponibles. But I can do I fit maybe 30 in one of those tanks before.
Damn.
So what I do is I get the stelts off. So these will come right off, and they're not easy. But once they come off, the bone core actually goes out to the tip of that. So the horn itself is just es como una uña arriba del hueso.
Yeah.
Y empieza a crecer con el hueso durante el tiempo. What longhorns have that a lot of non-horn animals, don't have is that's how they keep their temperature, their body temperature cool in the hot days. They have blood flowing through all these durante todo el verano, todo el tiempo. So, es lo que les da mucha ventaja a esos animales para sobrevivir más que cualquier otro animal.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
I didn't either.
They're amazing creatures, man. They've been here for so many years and they've survived so many things. Like, we're a little worried about putting them because the ranch that we got is in Toledo. We're a little skeptical about that area because you don't see a lot of longhorns, and I mean it's technically rainforest out there. But I think they're gonna thrive, man.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
out there not too long ago, and it's lush green still.
Yeah.
And it's.
Okay, damn.
I go out there like every week or every other week for work out there. That's a nice area.
In Toledo.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I like it out there. I partnered up with a good buddy that I met in Utah on a. We were getting certified for my company with a big manufacturer, and they happen to be out here in Newport. And we got to talking a little bit about what we do and everything. And when we got back into Oregon, we touched base again. We grabbed lunch, and I was just telling him what my plans were with the Longhorns and what that all entails, because I mean, I could rant about the longhorn industry and everything.
I'm interested in that, so feel free to give us a little gems about it.
Yeah, before we go there, real quick, are they all this big, or is this kind of like this
This is a 3-year-old steer, so they
Okay.
they can get massive.
bigger than this?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
is this small then?
I mean,
3
it's
years?
it's average size.
Average.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's bigger ones, please.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's the thing I learned early on too, because when I first got my first set of longhorns from a rancher in Battleground, Washington, I thought they was the most massive longhorn, and I was bragging about it, and I was like, look, like I got this is the big prize, and it was like maybe 60 inches tip to tip. That's how they measure out how big they are. And I was just super excited, and I had no idea. I was just like a little kid with a brand new toy. And I quickly come to find out with more research and everything that some of these animals, I mean, can get 100. Actually, yesterday there was a horn showcase where they auction off a lot of these cows and bulls. One of them was 127 inches tip to tip. And I mean, they're breaking records left and right.
Oh, damn.
Just because of the genetics being, so secured. Everything is registered. Like, the breeding is all about, like, you not manipulating, but you can play around with genetics as long as they're registered longhorns from the U.S., right? So, yeah, these animals can get massive quickly, too.
127 inches?
Yep.
What is that, like 10, 11 feet? Something like that?
Yeah, it's past 10, yeah.
Past 10 feet?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's not easy to move them, man.
No, that's a big boy right
Damn.
there.
Yeah.
That is big. It's are longhorns only native to the U.S. or
They're all over the...
all over?
So, and I could be mistaken. I think they're originally brought in from Spain.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Como los caballos then, because they were brought from Spain, no?
Los toros, güey.
I know, but también los caballos.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think I could be
Yeah.
wrong on these, but
John, fact check.
Both horses and cows were all brought in. So
Oh, really?
Damn,
See?
damn,
You're-
John.
You do know, dude.
Yeah, no, pues de ahí viene todo.
Yeah, dude.
Bueno,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
eso.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, damn, that is
And they used to hunt. I mean, they brought them in and they got wild pretty much. Just like bison, they ran free for a long time. Y los estaban matando almost to extinction at some point, just like the bison. And so what the Texas Longhorn Association, is big about right now is continuing to breed these animals and continuing to keep the genetics pure and not, pues sí, mantener todo for them to thrive, right?
yeah.
And I mean, they're all over the place. There's people that breed these in Austria, in Australia también, Costa Rica, all over the place, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it back a little bit. So When you started this, did you start watching someone on YouTube that did this and it grabbed your attention, or follow someone on Instagram, or how did did your like pops do something similar to this?
No, I mean, like I said, it was always like siempre estaba dibujando, you know, and for me, I saw maybe it was a picture or video of a guy doing a design on a skull, and I thought it was super interesting. And
One of these schools?
I think it was a bison or a deer or something.
He's gonna say human skull.
No,
I was like, no.
that was the
It's
big
Iraq, bro.
that was a big thing for me. It was like, all right, I can work on animals and I can, you know, pay my respects to them and everything, but el día que me traigan un esqueleto de un humano, I'm just gonna be like, nah, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Esas son, nah, no, quién sabe. No,
Yeah.
It's bad karma, bad karma.
I don't know. There's some energy there, man, that I'm not a big fan
No, for
of.
real, yeah. No.
I agree.
Do you, is Longhorn the name for these bulls or
So, yeah.
sí, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
I was
You
gonna ask a similar question. Excuse my ignorance. Now, when they kill a longhorn, that's not beef, is it?
It's beef.
It is beef.
100%.
So it's a regular cow, but just that the longhorn has cool horns on it.
Yep.
Is it like fancier beef, or is it the same beef?
It's really lean meat. Right?
Lean meat. Okay, so
it doesn't have a lot of fat in it. What I want to do in my program, and what a lot of ranchers that I know do, is, you know, if you already have a herd sire, un semental, and if a cow gives you another bull, you have to make that decision within the year if you want to keep him as a bull or as a steer. If you turn him into a steer, pues le tienes que cortar los huevos, and you just have him roam for the next 3-4 years, and then you butcher him. That's your beef program, pretty much. So you have to have that in line, because you can't just feed these animals every year without any money coming in. You have to have a program where the steers are going to be where you get your meat from, and your horns and all that, if you want to do hides. But these cows are expensive early on, so you have to have margins for everything. So the meat is a little harder to sell, just because the USDA requires you to process them through them to be able to sell to public. But the issue is the USDA is not they're not equipped to handle these animals. Where in their facilities, you have to have a certain amount of length of horn. So a good friend of mine was asking about it here in Yamhill, and they suggested they cut off the horns and then you bring them in. And he's like, I acted like he never said anything like that. Like, it was you cutting off this animal's horns and throwing it into their chutes was gonna kill it instantly. And he was just like, I'm never gonna contact you guys again. Like, we're gonna figure this out. And for us, it's better to just do consumer, so we can always butcher an animal and you know, hey, mi familia, a los amigos, pero no estamos haciendo algo oficial. You know, we're not putting a price tag on it and selling it at a store or a market, just because the regulations are a little different. But it's great meat, man. I still have about 50 pounds from the one that we butchered last year. And it's just me and my wife, obviously. But, I mean, meat's expensive, man. Like, butchering an animal that can keep you fed for a year.
I was going to ask you.
Without having to go and buy anything. Like, I mean, we obviously do the groceries and all that. Pero meat, toda la carne que tenemos.
Yeah. Go on a carnivore diet, dude.
I know.
I heard that's pretty good.
I heard it's really healthy for you. Have you heard about that? Yeah.
And longhorn meat is, I mean...
And you said it's lean, so it's even better for you.
Yeah. It's all grass-fed, too. Like, we don't finish them off with grain or anything like that. We give them minerals from time to time, but they just roam and graze. That's about it. You know, graze the grass that's around them, pretty much. You just have to... The big thing for me is that land that we have out there, you have to be cautious about how many animals you put in there, because you do have to rotate them from time to time for that grass to grow back up and everything. So we didn't want to bite more off than we can chew. So I told my buddy, I was like, look, I think we should stick to low numbers for now. We have 2 cows that are almost ready to calve. So we just have to play it safe. He's like, he's kind of excited about getting more, and we do have a big piece of property. But if this is a trial run for us and something goes wrong, like it's a lot of money, man. Like some of these cows are worth a lot of money, and it's a big risk to take.
How much does a baby cow run range?
Depending if it's and like I said, it's all genetics on where they come from. You see their pedigree, and there's one website in specific that has done a tremendous job with all the ranchers in the U.S. Hired Hand Live gets a lot of these ranchers. They set them up with a website and they keep track of who's breeding what animal. If they get sold to another state, they'll still follow up and keep track of that animal and who they're breeding with and everything. So it keeps everything really clean and just organized in the industry. The average, I think, though, is, I mean, if you get a good cow that's producing nothing but heifers, que te den puras vacas, they're probably going to be around 1,000 to 1,500. That's kind of the average starting price. Some cows that are worth a lot of money, as soon as they have a calf, I mean, ya tienen gente llamando, hey, ya nació ese calf. Okay, pues sí, pero está a $12,000 o está a $15,000, Y la gente sí se avienta, arriesgando también que you still have to see how well that cow does. You buy a cow that doesn't have a good track record, que tiene puros toros también. That's a big thing. If a cow has nothing but bull calves, it's not a really good cow. Just in the eyes of you making profits, because a bull is really hard to sell in this industry because todos ya tienen su toro principal. Y para meter otro toro, I mean, no.
Yeah,
sirve
yeah,
mucho.
exactly.
Yeah.
What do you look into a bull to keep it for breeding?
What do I look for in a bull?
Yeah.
The big thing that I discussed kind of with my partner was we don't want to have a bull, a sire in our property. We're going to rotate bulls instead of buying one, because what can happen is when you start breeding it to those cows, you have to breed their daughters to that bull again at some point, and it creates a big mess whenever you're fixing the pedigrees. Like it's overlapping almost.
Okay.
And maybe it's just preference for me, but I would like to keep it a little more cleaner. Where si hay un bull, like right now in Texas, there's a lot of good bulls down there. There's two really great ones here in Oregon también. I can just buy the semen from that bull and inseminate one of the cows that I have that I think is going to produce a good calf, and just go that route instead of leasing a bull and putting it into the property. It causes stress for everybody, for the cows, for the bull, to be moving around from place to place, where they can just send me semen. And if I want that genetic, then there it is right there. And you roll the dice a little bit. They're not cheap. They're like $300 per straw, and you're just hoping that it gives. But it's still a better option than buying a really expensive bull, or taking care of a bull is not easy either. So
I bet. Yeah.
they can get aggressive. Most of the ones that I've seen, though, I mean, you just have to respect them. That's it. They'll feel if you're not respecting them, that you're in their space, or even when they're in heat or something, like better than just
don't
to
get
mess
too
with
close.
it.
Are the horns for do females get the horns too, or is it just the males?
Yep.
Oh, they both do.
Females is what you want to look for. Well, kind of what I look for is obviously a bull needs to be very masculine, que tenga los cuernos una base muy grande, because that means the skull's going to be a lot bigger. So a bull just needs to look very masculine, and it needs to have a good curl. For me, that's kind of what I look for. And then you can pick and choose your cows. Right now we have 4 cows that are different horn shaped a little bit, and we're just gonna try things out and see how a good bull that has that my buddy in Lebanon is gonna lease us the first year. He has so crecen como para arriba and then they curl back, and that's nothing like the one here. This one grows out and then it swoops up. So I want to play around with his genetics our first year because we can. We're not at a big loss if it doesn't work out, right? So that's the first bull that we're going to breed those cows to next year. Pero he has it all también. He has a big base at the bottom. His horns don't go out like the traditional bulls, but I do want to see how that plays in with the cows that we have, because the cows just need to look elegant and very, pues sí, como, no como las damas. Pues. Yeah.
They remind me of Frenchies. You know how the hype of Frenchies?
Yeah.
You know how there's some with like spots, then there's some with like hair and stuff. You see some of these bulls. I don't know if you've looked into it at all, but some of these have spots too, and they
different
look
colors, no?
in different colors.
Son blancos, como like kind of like como beige, no? A unos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you just got a baby, right? A baby bull?
Yeah. So one of the cows that we got, and this is, so she's a brown cow, but the bull that she was bred to at the time was black and had maybe some white spots. So the genetics from the bull just were 100% just eran lo más potente pues en ese.
Copy paste.
Yeah. So he's just black and white, but he's got all kind of spots on him, and he has a lot of good genetic values in his pedigree. So I talked to my buddy. I was like, look, I know we said no bulls, man, but
this is one we gotta keep.
Yeah, this is the one we gotta keep, and I just have a good feeling about him, man. And I went out there not so long ago, and I was just looking at him, taking a few pictures and stuff. And dude, his spots are just so unique, He's all black, and he's got spots up here in his face, so se ve como un esqueleto almost, because he's got like the outline maybe of a skull, and I don't know, it's just unique. The other one that I got when I first met my buddy Scott from Dayton, because he big shout out to him. He introduced me to this whole thing. I was out there picking up a few skulls because I had reached out to him at the time, and he had a roof leak on a barn, and I went up there and looked, and I got to see his whole property, and I was just like, man, like this is it, like this is amazing. And we just built a relationship after that. I let him know what I was doing with the skulls, and poco a poquito, I mean, he introduced me a little bit to kind of what they were doing and how they ran their businesses, and he's just been kind of a mentor to me, man. So he had a really nice steer, and every time I would go out there, at the time I was cleaning some skulls up at his property, that steer would always walk up to me and was just kind of nosy, chismosillo ahí. But he was the only one. He was kind of the odd one that just stuck around, and they say it's a red flag if you have a cow or a bull like that, because no te va a entender, porque no está, they're not as docile and they're not herd-like, right? So it's going to be harder to get him in the pens and get him in the trailers and stuff. But no, era bien tranquilo. Pues sí, poco a poquito se me arrimaba. Yo lo traía croquetas. I mean, there's alfalfa cubes that you can give them and stuff también. Y pues agarró confianza. And at the time, también, pues, yo estaba parando de tomar. En ese tiempo ya iba a llegar un año. Y el día que yo paré de tomar era en abril. Ese día, pues... ese día era el día que nació ese canijo también.
Yeah.
So le dije, hey, ¿cómo le hacemos para que yo obtenga I want this steer, like how are we going to work this out or what? He said, no, he's amazing. I think, si el plan tuyo es empezar tu herd en un futuro, pues lo puedes mantener aquí, te lo cuidamos, no hay pedo. Y pues le dije, no, la neta me gustaría venir a visitarlo, tratar de halter break him and stuff, and just work with him a little bit. Y pues sí, siempre ha sido el número mío 13 y él tenía el número 13 branded on him when he was born.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was perfect. His name was Cupid y pues me ha dado tal vez algo de alegría también cuando paré de tomar, de poder enfocarme en algo y just indulge in something new because it's tough, man. Like, si lo hubiera hecho nomás así y hubiera seguido trabajando nomás en el roofing, hubiera estado un poquito difícil, pero encontrando este tipo de outlets que puedes hacer, que te pueden producir algo positivo en la vida, me ayudó un chingo. I mean, y pues es lo que me ayudó a mí. Ya, pues, el canijo va 3 años igual, o sea, vamos parejitos.
Sí,
pues.
sí.
Y,
Nice.
y pues sí, el güey siempre eh, ya se anda poniendo un poquito rebelde, pero es que tiene también.
You spoil him, that's why.
No, I mean,
Too much croquetas.
he's a good dude, man. I
Yeah.
love him.
That's awesome.
He's just not like the other, you know.
Yeah.
Con los otros se lleva y todo, pero as long as you got treats and stuff, like he's there and he's just chilling. He lets you pet him and everything. I wanted to work with him to halter break him because así como un caballo lo puedes entrenar a montarlo y todo. So yo empecé a ver que también eso lo pueden hacer con LongHorns because they do it all the time in Texas.
I've seen that, dude.
And
some big old bulls with big old horns, and you see a guy with the
just
riding
up there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's badass. Hell yeah.
So I wanted to do that, and I tried, man. I can honestly say, like, I tried working with him. Maybe not enough, porque igual yo seguía trabajando y todo eso. Ahora, si yo, el día que tenga yo mi rancho ya estable, pues sí quiero empezar a hacer eso cuando están ya chiquitos. Because right now, I mean, he's like at 70 inches tip to tip, so está casi igual que este canijo.
Yeah.
And he's getting a little, he's got a little wild hair on him right now. He knows if he doesn't want you near him, man, te avienta.
Yeah.
And it can get dangerous when I'm out there by myself. I mean, my wife gives me shit all the time for it, but it can be dangerous. So he had gotten out. I'll share a story with y'all. He had gotten out of a trailer when we were moving him from a pasture to another pasture porque ya se había acabado el pasto. Pero lo teníamos que mover como a 15 minutos. Pues el canijo, estábamos a punto de subirlo a la trailer y el canijo se brincó. Se brincó 2 fences y no sé dónde chingado se fue.
He jumped a fence?
Yeah. He's tall too, man. Like,
Really?
es muy diferente a los demás en ese aspecto que también está bien alto el canijo.
Damn.
Y
How many pounds does he weigh? Roughly?
600.
Can you imagine a 600-pound fucking cow jumping over a fence, dude?
Damn,
2
dude.
fences, dude?
Yeah.
No mames, you can't even jump over one, dude.
I know. I was like, damn.
So he jumped over 2 fences?
Yeah, so he got back into the pasture, right? So the good thing was we already knew where he was going to be, but the pasture is 90 acres. Tenemos que recorrer un chingo para encontrarlo. And it was all just bushes, just blackberry bushes everywhere. Era un desmadre. It was just overgrown with a lot of weeds and stuff. So por eso los estábamos sacando de ahí, no había nada para tragar. Y dijimos, no, pues a la chingada, ya es muy tarde, mañana veremos. They had 2 water troughs on the south side of the property and the top side. So mañana vamos y checamos si anda por ahí. Pasaron unos cuantos días, no lo encontrábamos y yo bien preocupado también. Yo, pues,
My investment?
yeah, man, I was like, fuck, like... Y más que nada, pues, I felt bad también. No sé si el güey me resienta o lo que sea por no verlo mucho. No sé cómo está la cosa, pero... O sea, el canijo, duramos 3 días y lo encontramos hasta mero arriba de un monte que corre para arriba. Y pues yo lo encontré, pero pues estaba mi esposa conmigo también. Pero she was all the way down there. Y pues yo igual, las veces que fui solo, dije, chingada madre, si me pasa algo, ¿quién va a saber? O a quién llamo, lo que sea.
No service out there. Rough. Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, man. So I was just like, man, tengo que traerme a alguien más y pues todos mis gallos andaban chambeando. Yo pues me fui a hacer eso porque sí lo tenía que sacar de ahí, no había
Yeah.
nada para tragar. El tercer día que lo encontré ahí, he had a nice little nest, just kind of in between bushes, but he
Yeah.
could see everything
Yeah.
underneath. You know, if anybody was coming up, he could see, already see us from up there.
Yeah.
It was el güey es inteligente, you
Yeah.
know. So I went up there y yo de güey también no traía croquetas, no traía lazo, no traía nada. Y pues sí, lo empecé a acariciar y no, se espantó. I mean, he was just scared y estaba bien flaco.
Sí.
Y pues sí, al siguiente día dije, chingue su madre, pues ya sé dónde está, ya mañana me alisto bien, me traigo uno de mis gallos y pues lo agarramos. Pues, it was a solid plan, but it went south quick, man. And it went south on me quick because as soon as I got up on that hill, pues sí le traje sus croquetas y ahí andaba pues también asustado, no tenían, estaba solo en el monte pues. Y I managed to get a rope around his head y lo agarré pues de atrás de los cuernos aquí y pues por arriba. En cuando lo agarré, así que le di el jalón, se peló. Se peló and
Yeah.
I shit you not, man, no lo dejé ir como por unas 2 horas.
Yeah.
Y me arrastró por donde quiera. Y parábamos y me miraba el güey y, come on, cabrón, tenemos que sacarte de aquí, te vas a morir aquí, güey.
Sí.
Y me seguía un ratillo y se pelaba de volada también.
Yeah.
Y pues yo no lo soltaba, traía cortadas por donde quiera, por donde me
Yeah.
arrastraba, pues. As soon as we got close to the trailer, andaba un chavo mío vigilando, pues, que todo estaba bien. Pues no estaba bien todo, pero dije, no pasa nada, yo ahorita lo traigo para allá. Y ya llegamos, lo amarré un pinche poste y pues lo subimos a la trailer ya, pero ahí es cuando también ya me decidí, dije, puta madre, if I spend more time with him y lo trabajo un poquito mejor, tal vez no hubiera sido tan rebelde así como estaba, pero igual, yo no tengo caballo, yo no tengo así, mucha gente lo hace todo en caballo, es más fácil, pero también un caballo cuesta mucho más que unas cuantas vacas y pues tal vez en el futuro sería algo a good investment porque pues, sí, para andar correteando esos animales así uno
90
solo.
acres? That's a lot of property.
It's a lot.
It was pretty big and it was all downhill también. Ya ves que pues, estaba en el monte de arriba y pues me arrastró y nos subimos a la trailer y ya. It was a long day, man.
So some of these trained ones, you're able to just throw a rope on them and just kind of walk them?
Yeah, so what they do, and I could be mistaken, I don't know a lot about, what the little that I know is que le ponen un anillo entre medio de la nariz. Y early on es cuando no les duele tanto y cuando uno empieza a trabajarlos, entonces le ponen ese anillo y le lastima, pero no es nomás presión, pues. So ellos saben que cuando tú jales el lazo que está en el anillo, se tienen que mover a huevo a donde lo jales, pues. Mucha gente está contra eso porque pues dicen que es algo muy drástico para poder hacer lo que tú quieras con un animal, pero a ellos no les afecta mucho. No es algo que les está... It's not like you're putting a piercing on somebody and pulling it,
Yeah,
right?
I seen that, yeah.
It's just pressure. Es lo que sienten ellos, es presión nomás. Igual cuando los empujas, le jalas la cola y les empujas, es pura presión y saben que se tienen que mover para to relieve that pressure. So es lo que hace mucha gente y empezarlos nomás desde jóvenes, o sea, empezarlos trabajándolos, sabiendo que they can trust you, that you're not here to hurt them and stuff. You want to just respect the animal, and then before you know it, ya lo estás enseñando y pues sí, poco a poquito, pero el detalle es ese, tener todo el tiempo para hacer todo eso.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean,
patience and the time.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Y es algo que hoy en día, ahorita, pues me traen por todos lados y como quisiera hacer muchas de las cosas que tengo planeadas, pero yo sé que poquito a poquito ya voy a lograr a poder hacer eso ya.
So, I could tell that that the herd is like a passion to you. and the schools as well, the way you talk about it. Is it viable to make a living out of that? Because I know you were saying like the USDA doesn't make it easy
Right.
for you. Like, is it?
It's not at all, man.
No.
I think, and that's where roofing comes in, and that's that's where a lot of the things that I do on the side are just kind of, I'm not fully going into it. I mean, I love it, and anything I put my mind to do, I will give it 100%. But the fact of the matter is, there's also a lot of people that depend on me, my family, a lot of my workers, and so this is just going to be one of those things that is going to be a slower process. My biggest thing right now is growing my commercial roofing company first. And then these things will kind of kickstart a little bit. I mean, I don't even have the time anymore to do a lot of the skull stuff that I enjoyed doing early on when I didn't have a lot of time. During the rainy seasons, when I was roofing, that's all I was doing, and people loved it. They offered, hey, I have a client that wants one before Christmas. Okay, let's work something out. Right now, I mean, I can maybe get one done a month or so, but también lo que me está ayudando más ahorita y lo que mi enfoque ahorita es commercial roofing. That's what I also just love doing, man. It's a big passion for me. It's a big passion for the industry that also brought me in, and there's also a lot to be said about where the industry is going, and the roofing industry también. I've gotten a chance to meet some really great people in the commercial side. Like I said, I don't do a lot of the residential just because I'm not familiar with it, and I don't really want to get into residential. It's like kind of stepping back a little bit at this point. But a lot of the people that I've met are Paul Reed is one of them. He's out of Colorado. He runs a group called Roofers in Recovery, and they send a lot of these people out to rehab to be able to get off drugs or get off alcohol, and they give a lot of these opportunities to people that are struggling in and out of the industry, right? And that's a big thing for me. I'd like to at some point be able to be the example también para muchos ruferos o mucha gente que también nomás está batallando con eso. It's important, man. It's changed my life drastically, and I feel like slowly but surely la historia va a seguir mejorando. Entonces quiero ser el ejemplo también para muchos, especialmente a los hispanos que tenemos eso, que nos limitamos en veces en hacer cosas que queremos hacer por lo mismo de que la cultura es tomar y así, pues no hay mucho avance ahí. Y pues tal vez es como darle a la contraria, pues. También. Porque yo también cuando paré de tomar, pues no podía convivir. O sea, en mi perspectiva, tal vez las conversaciones no eran iguales porque pues, uno no anda tomando, lo que sea. Pero yo me tuve que ver en la cara y decir, pues yo no quiero tener esa conversación, yo quiero tener conversaciones de negocio, de ganado. Y me empecé a retirar un poquito de las amistades que tal vez no me estaban dando mucho beneficio. Y de 2 personas, 3 personas que conocí que tenían sus metas, que sabían lo que estaban haciendo, que nunca hablamos de pistear, nunca hablábamos de salir allá y acá, no, andamos haciendo esto, mira cómo ves. Poco a poco, ese tipo de hábito a mí me gustó. Y empecé I started to realize que era más tenía más potencial yo para hacer estas cosas, y yo creo que lo que me estaba limitando era también el alcohol, porque yo no era de pistear una noche y pues así nomás, sí. Si voy a hacer algo, pues me voy a aventar a hacerlo a todo. So, es la misma actitud que tuve en cualquier
Yeah.
negocio que voy a hacer. Es nomás poner esa energía en eso en vez de andar de...
Lo que le digo a Alan, le digo, Alan, no, dale, no.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a quitter. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you took the steps to change, pues. Tú
Pero-
quieras
That's
algo
good.
diferente.
Y mi respetos a la gente que sí puede,
Ajá.
o sea, que puede
Sí, sí, sí.
convivir y todo, mi respetos al 100%, porque casi, pues, mi familia es así, puede convivir y todo, pero for me, no,
Sí, you
it
know
wasn't-
yourself y no ibas a poder y
Yeah.
para qué y mejor
yeah,
hacerlo. So,
no me estaba dando nada de beneficio a mí,
sí,
feeling like shit next day, y pues tratar de curarla, lo que sea,
sí.
no me estaba hundiendo muy feo.
Ujú.
Y aparte, pues también tuve mis problemas con las drogas y todo, pero
Sí, sí.
pues como cualquiera, no teníamos mucho también, uno como hispano también, no hay muchas oportunidades para uno.
Sí, sí.
Y yo cuando me voy aquí a Oregon, las puertas como que se me abrieron porque it's just a blank canvas for me. It was kind of a reset button. Dice,
Yeah.
mira, de aquí en adelante voy a escribir mi historia a como yo quiero. Lo que pasó allá, lo que pasó acá, that doesn't fucking
Yeah,
matter, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
Y pues me ayudó mucho. Yo pienso que alejándome de todo eso, alejándome y es algo vulgar a decirlo así, pero it's just a lot of distractions that limit you. Extraño a mi familia un chingo, les hablo y todo, hablamos, pero sí se extraña ese lado también de...
Te enfocas más.
Exactly. Yeah.
Siempre he escuchado que te tienes que mover de donde eres porque las distractions, los amigos, familia o lo que sea, te limita al círculo donde estás nomás, ¿verdad? Y si quieres cambiar, no vas a cambiar porque esas mismas amistades están ahí.
Yep.
So cuando te forzas, bueno, cuando vas a otro lado diferente, you're kind of like a brand new and it's amistades diferentes and you start focusing on something and
Yep.
you have free time, pues no vas a salir con nadie porque no conoces a nadie.
Exacto. Yeah.
Oh, no, pues mi familia no está aquí. Pues no. So te enfocas y te disciplinas. And I mean, I've always heard that. So
Yeah. Yeah, es algo que también es duro porque no, yo y mi esposa estamos aquí solos nomás. Y yo siempre he tenido a mi familia cerca. De hecho, pues ya un poquito de mi inglés, de mi español se me está borrando un poquito, pero es algo que creciendo con una familia hispana era muy difícil to step away from that. Pero creo que me ayudó mucho más a mejorar la relación igual con mis padres, con mis carnales, con todas las personas que tal vez algún tiempo tuvo un problema o lo que sea. It made everything so much better. The little bit of distance that we had.
that's good. Yeah, that's good. I think you're taking all the right steps and stuff, and it kind of shows everything what you have going on y todo. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm trying to bring my family out here, man. They've been out here a couple times and they love it, but igual es un movimiento muy grande.
Yeah.
Change is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard,
I mean, yo por mi compañía como quisiera traerme mis carnales porque pues mi carnal mayor, tengo un carnal mayor, uno menor y tengo dos hermanitas. El mayor gana por un año. Y ese canijo me enseñó casi pues, la mayoría de lo que sé de roofing. Y yo le estoy presionando que se venga para acá to help me run my business.
Yeah.
Porque sí, lo de comercial, como les digo, no es nada fácil.
Yeah.
Pues sí tienes que hacer mucho más que lo de residencial. I mean, aquí no está tan difícil porque igual yo como soy de México, en muchos otros estados que tal vez quisiera abrir mi negocio, no que va a ser posible. Aquí tuve esa oportunidad de hacerlo y no me voy a echar para atrás, o sea, le voy a dar todo lo que pueda porque hay un beneficio muy grande aquí en Oregon que no requiere que tú seas un nacional de aquí o un ciudadano.
Sí.
Para empezar tu negocio y pues creo que quiero ser ese ejemplo para los hispanos también que quieren empezar sus negocios, que se motiven a hacerlo porque pues nunca es muy tarde, la neta. Yeah, it's a blessing to have so many benefits in the
Yeah,
state,
yeah.
man. It's like no other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
And it's beautiful. My family comes out here, and we don't have enough time to go through everything that you can see
Exactly.
in Oregon, man.
Tenemos de todo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in
I
the middle
never-
of everything.
I never thought I'd even see these animals. I didn't know about these animals, and I spent time in Texas, Louisiana. Pero cuando me moví acá es cuando conocí y vi mis primeros Longhorns.
Oh,
Y ya cuando hablé con mi carnal y no, pues mira, encontré un ranchero, aquí tiene Longhorns.
Sí, sí.
What they doing up there, man? Like, y pues sí, ya me involucré más y kind of find out. I mean, Texas,
Yeah.
hay ranchos por donde quiera y nunca los vi yo. Es cuando llegué aquí que
Miraste,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw a picture of you with your family, with your pops and stuff, and your brothers, and you guys were at an event.
Yeah,
Was that
so
here or was that out there?
in Grapevine, Texas.
It was in Texas.
Yeah, it was in Texas. We got invited 2 years ago because what I do as well is I set up my booth on these events, right? So, or if like 3 years ago, un ranchero me pidió uno because they were going to auction it off before the sale. So these sales, they auction off either rifles or something before the sale just to get the sale started. They asked me to do the same design, the American flag on a skull. Y pues sí, la hice. They send it out. Me mandó una foto con el esqueleto en su private jet. He's like, no sé por qué me lo estoy llevando, si me lo voy a regresar de todos modos. O sea, el güey se lo llevó y se vendió por un chingo de feria. Y yo vi eso y dije, ay, güey, pues, ¿qué estoy haciendo aquí batallándole con clientes que no quieren pagar esto y esto? Me tengo que meter con esta gente. I mean, Texas.
He flew you out. He flew this
The skull.
in.
Yeah.
In a private plane.
Yep. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's big money.
Yeah, I mean, esos canijos, I mean, tienen el billete y pienso que se saben mover también ellos. Eso lo hacen como un hobby para ellos. Y tal vez mucha gente piense que es algo muy extraño, tal vez no. La gente que se está dedicando full time a esto, les duele eso, que esta gente nomás anda así, jugando con billete y eso y el otro, pero en realidad yo no lo haría, como les digo, yo no lo haría full time, porque yo sé que es un mercado que va a estar así siempre.
Sí, sí.
Pero sí, pues esos vatos me asocié bien con ellos y vendieron mi esqueleto por un buen billete, ya.
Can you say the amount?
$7,000.
7,000.
Yeah. Que es poquito. I mean, unas vacas no se venden tan caras tampoco.
Yeah.
Y ya me invitaron a ir a Texas, porque ese sale era en Oklahoma. Y era en esta temporada también. So, en marzo me llamaron y me dijeron, hey, ¿quieres venir acá? Tenemos este evento. We'd love to have you here doing another skull and auctioning it, and if you want to put your booth out. So we went out to Texas, and my family went down there and everything. That's as close as we were going to get to the Midwest. So
They live in Louisiana or they live in Chicago?
Chicago.
They live in Chicago.
So mis jefes in Chicago, and then mi carnal vive todavía en Louisiana. And then mi padrino, he came out from Houston, and pues nos reunimos ahí, we made the best of it, you know. But yeah, that year was pretty fun. I think I sold that one for $3,000. But it also helped me get to know a lot of the people and just network with a lot of people that are down there. Pass out my cards. I mean, just get a little known. And pues sí, me invitaron otra vez este año y pues ahora sí la familia sabía que iba a estar ahí. So nos reunimos otra vez. Ya en este tiempo ya estaba mi chamaquilla, que tenía que ya 5 meses, 5 o 6 meses. Y pues, sí, le digo a mi esposa, I mean, even if she doesn't want to, we're going to go to that sale every year.
That's awesome, man.
Because she, you know, mi hija had been there since she was in her belly. Y pues cada año quiero ir ahí a presentar, pues sí, a representar quién soy yo y ojalá en unos 2 años pueda llevar unas vacas para vender yo
Sí.
también ahí.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. I mean, yo no me quiero meter mucho en este negocio por el dinero, porque igual ahí es donde se descarrila la gente. Yo pienso que conociendo los rancheros y haciendo negocio con rancheros que saben lo que están haciendo, and just doing right by people, you know, también, de repente te va a tocar a ti.
Sí, sí.
Pero si te enfocas mucho en el dinero, de cuánto me va a sacar esta vaca, que pagué yo así y así,
te pierdes.
te pierdes.
No, the passion, ya estás enfocado en lo que no.
Entonces, por eso yo, si me enfoco mucho en esto, o sea, si me voy a todo dar en esto y compro unas vacas de 6,000 o X, yo sé que voy a estar estresado por eso. Al contrario, yo quiero nomás invertir un poquito, a ver cómo, see how they roam, see how they do.
Sí, sí.
Y pues si salgo de billete, pues salgo de billete.
Sí,
Yeah.
exactamente.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Al fin de cuentas es nomás un placer también verlos.
Sí,
Los
exactamente.
animales.
Do you have anything else that you want to say? Maybe we didn't ask or something you want to share because.
Well, I guess the big thing that I'm more focused on these days, and I saw a couple of you guys' episodes with a lot of the realtors, is, you know, our company's growing and we're getting it more into the commercial space. So I saw your podcast with, I think it was Kurt Arthur, and man, it just, to think about like the people that have been here for so long and seeing the different changes in the city and everything. I love what you guys are doing too, man. Like, you guys traen la comunidad together, left and right, all kind of entrepreneurs and stuff, man. It's really great for me to be a part of it, and I hope, you know, I can continue también to giving back to the community. But yeah, man, the big thing that I'm working on right now is just kind of growing my commercial side.
Commercial side of it, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, Kurt's your guy, man. He's only commercial too.
Who's that?
Kurt Arthur?
Oh, Kurt, yeah.
He's only commercial too.
Yeah, and you know he did some. So he what I got from him was it's the same thing with the roofing industry. There's so many residential roofers and companies everywhere.
Specializing.
Yeah, and there's very few that know how to install these TPO products and everything. So with me knowing that early on, like I've said, like no sé instalar un roof de shingles, y pues no tengo vergüenza igual porque no me tengo que enfocar en eso también. Lo comercial siempre va a ser lo que me va a dar más valor para mí y lo que sé hacer al 100%. El único detalle es que andan entrando muchos residential roofers queriéndose a meter a comercial y no saben cómo hacerlo. So, para mí es muy importante, and there's not a lot of information out there about how to transition from residential to commercial. Y es muy arriesgado también hacerlo, pero no es imposible. Nomás me gustaría ver más education that goes with it también. Es muy arriesgado. El detalle es que si en un jale de residencial la cagas poquito, te faltó X amount of ridge o lo que sea, couple $100 de lo que te van a cobrar por arreglar lo que pasó.
Yeah.
And the commercial space, man, a little error that can cost you, I mean, anywhere from 30 to 50 grand. Un camarada que me asocié, andaban haciendo un gimnasio en la costa y pues el vato le llegó una tormenta, así, nomás de repente, y pues $150,000 ahí. Y son cositas que uno tiene que estar preparado en una casa de residencial, pues nunca vas a recuperarte para poder hacer un pago tan grande.
Ujú.
So es más delicado, toma más tiempo, es un poquito, no digo poquito, es muy estresante.
Ujú.
It's filing for permits. It's just a lot that goes into
Yeah.
it, man. Getting certified through a good company that can vouch for you también. Um, and just your guys knowing how to install también. Uno como instaló mucho tiempo, pues tal vez hacer las cosas como uno quiere y yo trato de enseñarle a mis gallos también, hey, esta es la manera que tenemos que hacerlo. Pero it's hard for me también to step away from it. Yo nunca he sido mi jefe, nunca he sido así. Never had this role. Entonces es algo nuevo que también yo tengo que adaptarme y decir, yo no puedo ya estar trabajando con los gallos en los techos. Yo tengo que estar en estas juntas, yo tengo que estar enfrente de estas personas haciendo las decisiones para la empresa. Yo tengo que...
You gotta step out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
O si no, yeah, go ahead.
it's just hard too, because muchos de los que con los que trabajaba también saben, pues yo la atoro. Yo si falta hacer algo, lo vamos a hacer, no hay pedo. Pero igual, I gotta think of myself as es como si no tengo manos ya para ayudar.
Yeah.
Yo estoy dirigiendo todo nomás así, haciendo llamadas, porque es lo que nos va a hacer crecer, yo creo. Y it's a little difficult to communicate that with some of the guys that, I was working with at one point. Pero pues aquí si queremos crecer, es lo que tengo que hacer yo también. So, lo que ando buscando ahorita es más trabajadores. Y es muy raro porque pues la temporada de lluvia ahorita viene.
Yeah.
Pero yo tengo bastante jale, ese es el detalle. Que muchos, they're letting people go, but yo ocupo gallos para seguir el avance de los trabajos que ya tenemos vendidos. Y, pues para empezar a planear también, yo 2025 espero poder ya tener 2 cuadrillas corriendo bien, yo no meter mano. Esas son las metas que tengo ahorita. Scale the company a little bit. Yeah.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming out, man. We've been following you for a while, and we've been following your pages for a while, and I like what you post and how you post it, man. I think it's a little bit every time it's a little bit different, but the attention to detail that you have with everything. I mean, from your schools page to and then also your herd page, and then the roofing. I really like the. I mean, you do family, and then you also posted a picture with a gentleman from Silverton that you said that he was the original guy that put the roof on a building.
Yeah.
I forgot how long ago, but it was a while ago. And then now you, the younger generation of roofers is. It was an important building. I'm sorry, I forgot what building it was.
It was the U.S. Bank in Mount Angel.
Okay, U.S. Bank, but that building's been there for a really long time.
Yep.
When did he put that roof on?
Sheesh.
There
was like 7 layers of roof on there, so it could have been anywhere from 60 to 90 years ago.
60 to 90 years ago. See, and el doña estaba viejito, so this guy's taking a picture with him, and then on there he's like, oh, this is another generation of roofers.
Yeah.
So I mean that was pretty cool. But yeah, man, let them know where they can find you, follow you.
Yeah. Well, most of my stuff for the Skull Works stuff, Iniguez Skull Works, Instagram. I have a link to my website on there, and then my Empire Roofing website is empireroofingor.com. And then I just post a lot on my personal page, Antonio Iniguez 13. I love posting just kind of what we got going on with the herd on there. We haven't officially launched anything for the herd yet, but we're in the works of that. It's just a lot to juggle too. The main thing for me right now has just been the roofing, growing my roofing company, and we are looking to hire, anywhere from installers to just people that can do admin work as well. And yeah, if you guys have any questions at all for me, whether that be skulls or roof work, just anything at all, just want to know more about the Longhorns, I can just give you my 2 cents. I'm not an expert on it, but we're learning as we go. Yeah, just feel free to reach out via Instagram, or I'll just shout my number out and you guys can just text me or whatever. 773-824-6478. Yeah.
Cool. There you go. Hey, did you bring some swag? Did you use some hats or no?
Yeah, I brought
Okay.
2 sweatshirts.
You want to bring them, John?
and some
I
hats.
kind of wanted to get it on camera, so and then we'll take a picture too. Oh, damn, John! What the? John, come on. Nice.
Watch out! Don't throw that one. I don't want you to knock this down. Dude.
Yeah. Just bring
The hats is cool. The hats is cool.
Just bring it
You're
over.
just worried about paying for the.
Yeah, dude. I'm not paying $7,000 for this. That's coming out of your.
He was all like loosey goosey.
Damn, let's see.
I don't know what changed his mind so.
Check it out.
When I heard that $7,000 price tag, it changed my mind.
Check it out, guys.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Right, you got the hat. I'm gonna show the hoodie.
Cool. Over the months, a lot of our guests have brought nice stuff. No,
Yeah.
like it.
It was either this or the Empire hoodies. I was just like, I like my logo, man.
Yeah.
Like, Iniguez Skullworks logo is
Yeah,
really neat.
That's
man.
badass.
Nice. Hell yeah.
That's badass. Bam. Let's go. I like it, man.
Oh, and then you got your
Thank you,
lucky
man.
number, no, or the number you like.
Yep. When I was working on the brand, I was
Yeah.
like Antonio Iniguez.
And then the A, yeah.
Yep.
And
see
the,
it.
The skull and front's
Oh, okay.
right?
What's that?
You're gonna just give us the.
I'm gonna test them out. I'm a
Yeah, for 7,000.
I'm gonna test out now. What do you see in this logo?
What the fuck are you talking about? Well, you just said the A and the 13.
And what
It
else?
blends right in.
What else?
Oh, dude, don't fucking do this to me. Dude.
Dude, I mean, come on. You gotta look at it and be like, damn, I see. I know what you did. It's pretty cool.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ah, pues, I mean,
A ver.
I will just leave it for the next episode, you know? Tiene su nombre, pues, AI, and then 13 and that.
Oh, I didn't even notice the I.
Yeah, the eyes up here, and then the slash, and the slash was just to divide the 13, so it's not up here. But yeah, hopefully I can.
That's badass.
If I can someday brand that on an animal, that'd be awesome.
Till the next episode, guys.